Hi everyone, welcome back to our garden. It's been a while. We're ready for a late summer garden update for you, along with just our harvest and our progress this year.
So our cucumbers did very well this year. That cucumber beetle did come back and get us, but I thought it was kind of weird. This one plant on the end did the greatest and it's still fine. The bug did not get to it at all. It's still doing great. And around it, we had a spinach planted and green beans. I don't know if that plays part in it or what, but it was only this one that hasn't been touched. All the other ones, you can tell they have it a little bit, but we've gotten so many cucumbers off them and they're still producing. So we're doing just fine with cucumbers.
Well, the one thing we tried new this year was this red Malabar spinach. And so this isn't an actual spinach variety, but I have to say, oh my gosh, is it hardy. These plants are serious. So I don't know if you can tell, but these tendrils go all the way up. This one is about this high. We've got another one back here already to the middle. Now, we tried eating this as spinach on sandwiches or in salads, and what we found is we like the smaller new leaves, but we didn't really care for them if they got really big, so the ones below now we've been leaving or tossing to the chickens and only eating the smaller one. Matt and I have, we've been busy and we put a lot of harvesting on our kids this year. They have been busy harvesting plants, and green beans is no different. So we have been having them harvest all of our beans, which means sometimes we're getting some that are pretty big left behind. And these beans, you can tell they're running to the end here.
Our tomatoes, now they are just doing great without us. They don't need any help. All we did this year is try to trim up the bottom, and we didn't even do that very well because you like to trim up the bottom because you don't want them to get blight from sucking up ground and water hits it and stuff and dirt gets on it, and just you want to snip the bottoms like we always do, and we let them all go. We done this now for, this will be the second year. We don't do any kind of trimming on any of the tomatoes, any varieties. We only trim the bottoms to get them off the ground, and that's it. And we found by doing that we get the most tomatoes from our plants here in Minnesota anyways, and it has been great. Now you can tell there's been neglect here. They're falling over, they're in the path. We got even a crushed tomato here the chickens will just love, but they're still producing so much even with us neglecting them.
I really love using these heirloom seeds that we use because we end up with so many volunteers around the garden, and you guys have seen, well, at least at the beginning of the summer, all of the things that just came up on their own. This year by far we have had the most volunteer plants. All of my dill right here either came up here or I transplanted it from somewhere it randomly came up in the garden. And now we're at the point where it's all just, it's dill seed. So you know it will come up again next year because I haven't been great about getting it all taken care of. So many volunteers. Look at all these tomatoes even laying down here. And Matt and I noticed we've got a tomatillo here with fruit on it. Now, how many years ago was that we planted those?
Sunflowers did great. They're all taller than me, you know, because I'm 7 foot, so they're about 8 foot now. Just kidding. But they are definitely way taller than me. I would guess they're at least 10 feet. We got bumblebees, honeybees, all kind of native bees on there. The chickens like them. As they tip over, we grab them, throw them over to the chickens, and they enjoy a nice harvest. Our pepper plants, they didn't do as well as last year, but that was our fault. We planted in the greenhouse. We had some dirt mix-ups, mishaps you should say, which we are not going to use that dirt for next year. That was part of our seed germination, and a lot of them died right away. Anyways, we had to buy some plants, and the ones we bought are the only ones that came out and are doing well. So we're not going to have as many plants as last year, but we'll still have some bell peppers to get us through the omelet season, I like to call it.
In our first year with this Honeycrisp tree producing apples, so exciting. You can see them up there. Most of them look pretty good. We do have a couple blemishes on some, but nothing too crazy, especially since we didn't do anything to our tree. We didn't spray it with anything or put anything on. It's so exciting. First harvest from this tree will be this year.
How long have we had those trees? 4 years?
5 years,
5 years?
I think.
5 years to get the first apple.
So our zucchini plants, per expected, right? The dark zucchini and then this, I think it was a gray variety we planted this year. They both are doing well. We haven't had a huge abundance of zucchini, but I would say the last few weeks they're really coming in enough so that we can finally start making some zucchini bread, which is what the kids want, and so that Matt and I can be cooking it a little bit more. So I have to show you our first time growing black-eyed peas, and our plants are finally starting to dry out. You can see they're turning yellow, so hopefully that means before we know it, look at this one, almost dry. Before we know it, they'll be dry, and we will get to try black-eyed peas because I haven't tried them. How about you, Matt?
Nope.
We're in that season where we were just out here harvesting yesterday. We'll show you the wheelbarrow full we picked of everything from cucumbers, tomatoes. What else did we pick? Zucchini. Lots of things were picked. And we thought all the strawberries. Still a strawberry left.
So the wheelbarrow, it's that time of season that we're getting, I got some weeds I'm gonna feed to the chickens also. The wheelbarrows, I would say, every other day, we're coming up on that, where it's a wheelbarrow full every other day now. And that'll happen for a while, so super exciting.
Some of our onions this year did better than others. These ones in front of the garden where we have the straw on them are doing really well. We haven't actually picked any, but I can see some of these tops are starting to flop over, so it's time to pick onions. Now, usually we are out here picking because we're making salsa. I had picked up a big bag of onions, so I've been using that for fresh salsa, but what we've been doing with our tomatoes this year is we have been freezing them. We haven't done any canning yet with tomatoes.
So the garden bed up here, the broccoli did okay. We never got to eat anything off it, went to seed. Soil's just too warm, the sun baking on it right here. The leeks did okay. They weren't our best this year. I fertilized this bed pretty heavy, and unfortunately it got taken over with grass and it killed all the onions. So it didn't do as good as we thought it was going to. I think what I'm gonna have to do is next year, or this fall even, tarp it off so all the seeds germinate again and then die for next year, and cover it really heavy with straw and see how it goes. As far as the greenhouse goes, we have had the water is set up. Everything kind of went to seed. It got too hot. We have to pick carrots. We're planning on doing that within the next week or so. The onions in there didn't do good at all. We don't know why. We are behind the 8 ball. We didn't get our kale planted in there for the winter, so I don't even know if it'll do good because we're past that window. So all we have to do is try, but I have also one thing up my sleeve I can put in there, and it might work. We'll see. Hope you enjoyed the video, and glad you got to see us again.
Bye.